Hey, what's good? It's your boy. It's Marshay. You know who it is. I just said it. What's up? Alright, we're here for another weekly roundup of news. Now, the week started off and I thought it was pretty dry. It started off kind of dry. Mind you, when I say week, I mean last Saturday to today, which is this Friday the 12th of February. And yeah, it looked kind of dry at first, but now I am flooded. There will absolutely be certain things that I just don't talk about here, and certain things that I have, but I'm just gonna cut out. So that's just part of the nature of the beast. But, as an addition to that, we don't always have weeks where things are super productive, and there's always going to be times where I miss out on stuff. So if you want me to cover a certain news topic, just message me on my Twitter, which the link will be in the description. You can also go on my Discord and message me and put stuff there. That is also acceptable if you want to get my attention. I also gotta mention while I'm on the links, my Twitch. I usually stream after these, so check that out. And also my YouTube, my alternate YouTube channel where I do anime reactions. I'm starting to try and work that up again. If you want me to watch certain things, you can also just reach out to me. You know how it is. Anyways, let's get into news. Okay, so our first piece of news is about Sonic again. We had a lot of Sonic stuff last time, but guess what? There's more Sonic stuff too. Honestly, I feel like throughout 2020, Sonic was basically gone. But now 2021 seems like he's back up and running. Obviously. Okay, so what we got here is a leak from a fairly reliable leak, Zippo, a fairly reliable leaker, leaking shit when it comes to Sonic HD Anniversary Collection and all kinds of other stuff. The whole post is actually here. I'm just gonna skim through this, bring out the main points. People have been asking why I made a Twitter instead. Simple. Twitter is one of the most vile toxic cesspools around. I have zero interest in appeasing the numerous ninnies out there. Jesus, dude. I mean, he's spitting facts, right? But Christ. The main thing about this article, this is a lot of things, because the main points here are already pretty much stated here. Apparently there's a new 2D Sonic game that's being made in a Rush style, like in the Sonic Rush series style, which is really interesting considering that series has been dead for a long time, even longer than the 2D Sonic game, which, you know, makes sense. Like, they've done 2D Sonic so often recently, like even in 3D games, so it makes sense to do something more like old school, but old school like to the new kids, you know, to my generation. Apparently there's gonna be a Sonic HD collection, which is all 3D games, which will be nice, interesting. Doubt it's gonna be like remakes, probably just like, you know, clean up SA2, slap it in a box with like Unleashed and the rest of the series, and just be like, there you go, you enjoy this, right? And also a 3D game in the adventure style, apparently. On top of all of that, the announcement for the anniversary stuff, we have some. This article also includes some pretty like major pieces of news for the franchise going forward. Mainly when it comes to regards with like the story direction and like even just like the general direction of the franchise. It has changed drastically. As we already talked about, like in the last one, the main voice actor for Sonic has been switched out. Roger Craig Smith no longer working there. In between then and now, it's also been confirmed that Mike Pollock, the voice of Eggman, is staying, but also the voice of Amy and a bunch of other characters have just been swapped out entirely. So we can expect some big changes in and of itself. That and the writing duo, who basically did everything since like Colors, are no longer on the franchise either, which is good. It's a good thing. But they're no longer doing the story writing for that either. More importantly than any of what I just said, apparently now Sonic of America is the one in charge of the Sonic franchise. Not development-wise, not in terms of making the actual games, but in terms of like like the direction of the franchise, like the stories, the art design, like sort of just like how Sonic is going to be going forward is being determined by Sega of America, specifically a facility or building called specifically like a branch of the company called Sonic Pillar, which is opened up in Irvine, California. They're calling the shots. They're doing the games, merch, social media, everything. They're in charge of it, which again is a good thing considering Sonic has been in a mess for like 10 years. So this is actually a very good, potentially very promising new direction, you know? Now, of course, we still have people like Takashi Iizuka and Hoshino working on the franchise. You know, as it is. There's also been a pretty big change, actually, now that I remember it, in Sega itself. The creative director for all of Sega now is the Yakuza dude. I can't remember his name, but like he's that dude who just like looks so much flashier and more stylish than everybody else. He's in charge now, which is sick. I'm totally down for that. So, like Sega, if you didn't know, here's a little bit more of an inside scoop, and I know this. I know it feels like a lot of information, but stay with me. Another inside scoop when it comes to Sega is that like Sega throughout the pandemic and lockdown and all that have been suffering. Like it's been really, really tough for them. And the main reason why that is because Sega, especially specifically in Japan, really relies on the arcade scene, which is still flourishing there. But you can't go to the arcade during quarantine, so they've been having a rough time. As a result, a lot of things have happened. Like, for example, Sega has been really pushing Atlus to start making a lot of games on Steam, which is the main reason why Persona 4 Golden and also Strikers is now on Steam. And probably a bunch of new things going forward, if I'm being honest. And that's just the beginning, honestly. Like, it seems like Sega is in a position where they really have to make, like, strong decisions. Otherwise, they're just gonna go under. And, you know, nobody wants that, right? Honestly, it's actually a miracle they're still around. Really, it's Atlus that's keeping them afloat. Atlus and, like, the Yakuza series. Like, Persona and Yakuza. Anyways, next up. Okay, this is another interesting thing. Also sort of has to do with Sega. Platinum seems to be have explained why it's so quiet about being by Bayonetta 3. Well, to make a long story short in this whole thing, pretty much it's because Nintendo won't let them say anything. That's what it comes down to. Nintendo just told them shush. So they basically said that because we aren't the producers on this, we can't actually say anything unless Nintendo gives us the go ahead. So in other words, shut up. We can't say anything. It's none of your business, alright? Well, anyways, that's all I have to really say about that. Okay, next thing. Guilty Gear Strive for the PlayStation 5, PS4 is getting a new open beta test. I think it's also on a PC and whatnot, but, you know, it's getting a new open beta. The last time it had an open beta was pretty early into development. We didn't know a lot of the characters at the time. There was only a handful of them. A lot of things have been changed since then. There's like a later build of the game. Apparently this is gonna open up on the 18th. I think the registration's already closed or something like that, and it'll run until the 21st. We also have had an influx of new information for this game. But actually, before I get ahead of myself, there's also it will pretty much include every character except for Anji Mito, who's the latest revealed character, and the character that is yet to be announced. Apparently versus mode, tutorial mode, training mode, network mode, and online matches using the new rollback netcode are going to be available during this. So you pretty much get an experience of what the whole game is going to be like from what I'm hearing. Which is good. You know, this game has been a little controversial, at least in its last build. So given the new additions and stuff like that, a lot of the changes, this could potentially win over a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people are just going to get into the series with Strive anyways. That's my plan. I've never really played Guilty Gear in the past, although I've been aware of the series. But like, now I'm really interested. Like, I really want to get this game specifically. It just looks really up my alley, right? And it's beautiful as well. But yeah, in addition to all of this stuff, we actually got a big dump of like new Guilty Gear like footage, including matches with like a lot of the new characters that we never got to really see in the past. New character breakdowns for like a bunch of different characters who weren't covered in the first starter guides, as they call them, and like a bunch of other stuff, but it's way too much for me to cover here. If you're interested, a lot of other people have covered it. I'm just bringing it up because it's a thing. I've watched them all too, so you know, I'm up to date on this game. I'm very excited for it. Apparently, it's dropping on the 9th of April, so yeah, looking forward to that. A while back, and by a while back, I mean like a week. I think like a week before I started doing my thing, we had like an announcement, a trademark from Square Enix about Final Fantasy VII stuff. Pretty much, the names Ever Crisis came up, and also the First Soldier. Those were the two names that came up in trademarks. Recently, Ever Crisis was also trademarked in America, in the United States, in addition to Japan, Europe, Canada, and Australia. So, pretty much Ever Crisis is a thing. It's guaranteed to be a thing. And why that's significant is that Ever Crisis sounds a whole lot like Crisis Core, which is a game about Zack Fair, a character who's super duper spoilery to Final Fantasy VII story, so I'm not going to really get into any details, but he's very significant that this trademark has been filed, because so this could potentially be about a spin-off about Zack. So, yeah, that's telling. It could potentially mean quite a bit. And it's pretty likely to be a thing. The other one being, First Soldier, a lot of people speculated that to be like a Sephiroth game. I could totally see that, honestly. It makes sense. And like, Sephiroth before he became, evil would be pretty interesting, especially since there's a lot of lore there. And it would also help characterize him a little bit more. Because, like, honestly, pre-evil Sephiroth is a surprisingly nuanced character. Like, he's a surprisingly nuanced character. Like, he seems like a nice guy, all things considered. I actually am pretty interested in that. It's not something that was fleshed out much, and even though I can see this being a thing. But we'll see. We'll see if we get any announcements about that. Also, apparently, we also got a trademark for the Isle Dragon Wars, whatever the hell that means. I don't know anything about what that could be. It could be another Final Fantasy VII other thing. It could be something completely separate. Who knows? Moving on. Oh, this somehow warms the cold, dead cockles of my heart. You love to see it. The PlayStation 5 controllers are drifting and the repairs are a hassle. Gee, why does that sound so familiar? Oh, you don't understand my suffering as a Nintendo Switch owner. Oh, it feels bad, don't it? This is, so very unfortunate. So, yes, the next piece of news is about the the PlayStation 5 controllers. Apparently, they're suffering from drifting problems, just like the Nintendo Switch's Joy-Con controllers. Feels terrible, don't it? Really, ain't that a bitch? Got Sony fans making fun of Nintendo fans for the longest time for bullshit like this, and then look at it. Look at it. The DualSense controller, feels terrific to feel. It's somehow solid as it is, like the haptic feedback is dynamic. It's just, it's so sexy. But apparently, it's got Nintendo drift, right? It's got that Joy-Con drift going on, probably with its left sticks or something, right? And considering Nintendo's been getting a lot of flack for their Joy-Cons recently, I fully expect you Sony heads and you Nintendo heads to keep that exact energy you've been directing towards Nintendo and aim it directly back at Sony, because this ain't going to slide. This can't happen. I'm sorry. You guys can't come after Nintendo and not come after these guys. And I'm not saying don't come after Nintendo. Get on their asses. Apparently, pretty sure, the UK government is, suing Nintendo, so they're gonna have to do something about it. I just hope you guys keep the same energy for Sony, because they can't be getting away with this either. This is unacceptable regardless. But, yeah, apparently there was a formal apology about that from Nintendo. But now the DualSense is having the same problems. That's tough. That's real tough. On Reddit, actually, they uploaded a video. Hold on, I want to see. Oh, would you look at that? Ooh, it feels bad, man. Ooh, that man making a whole circle. He ain't even pressing the buttons. That's crazy. Oof, oof. It's terrible. Honestly, I think the Joy-Cons last longer. Like like the PS5 has been out for like, I guess it's been like four months, right? Been November, December. Yeah, it lasts about the same time. Maybe they're getting it made by the like they're outsourcing to the same people. Who knows? But the point of the matter is that that's not a good look. I don't think I've ever had really that many. Like, I've had my Joy-Cons drift exactly once, and it was my left stick, and I had to replace them. Currently, I'm having problems with my Joy-Cons too, but they're for different reasons. It's not because of drifting, it's because they're not snapping in properly, which might just be because my rails are worn out. Who knows? The options for fixing it are limited. Like, you can go to Sony's support page, and it has a whole thing for helping with the PS5, but right now, it's like their whole thing is their support team is being swamped by just people trying to get the PS5, much less even people trying to do this other stuff. Apparently, the writer of the article has actually tried to reach out to them. He's having the problem with where you go call a web, like a helpline, and then it's just nothing but automated things. You can't get anywhere. That's the worst, honestly. I have that problem with a lot of things. Like, I hate automated voice lines. Just hire more people, honestly, because automated voice lines can often result in you being unable to actually get the kind of like nuanced help that you could ever want. It's really, really trash. But damn, that's tough. Ooh, Ninjam Pepakor is that's the. I will show this to the day I die. Your throat ever getting messed up? You ever having any problems? It's beautiful. It just butters up your throat like nothing else. It feels great. Also, while I have you, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe if you made it this far. We still got a whole lot more to go, so I'd appreciate it. Share it with some friends. Help the series, the channel grow. You know how it goes. Oh my god, this topic. Alright, next thing up is... Okay, basically, Pokemon teamed up with McDonald's to create Pokemon themed Happy Meals that have actual Pokemon trading cards in the Happy Meals. And people are scalping Happy Meals. Meant for kids, mind you. They're going to McDonald's and scalping Happy Meals just so that they can get the Pokemon cards. Because if you didn't know, recently Pokemon cards have been going up in value significantly. Mainly because Logan Paul sort of like brought back the trend of like opening up Pokemon cards in like the modern era. Like, it's a thing. It's a trend to do it. These are now valuable objects. So people are being like, I can get a bunch of Pokemon cards, including potentially super valuable things, just by getting a Happy Meal. Let me hook this up. I don't really understand why they're scalping these. Like, can you not just buy Pokemon cards? Is there that much of a drought that you need to get a Happy Meal to do it? Let me look into this a little bit more. I need to know. Or is it like there's an exclusive line, right, of Pokemon cards that's made specifically for these Happy Meals? Okay, so like, I'm gonna assume it's like an exclusive thing. But yeah, grown men and women, grown adults have been rolling up to McDonald's, like mass buying these Happy Meals, and now kids cannot enjoy them, despite the intention. That's overwhelmingly pathetic. Can I just be honest? This is sad. This is actually just sad. Not for the kids, for you grown men out here depriving children of their Happy Meals, buying whole ass Happy Meals that you're not even eating, mind you. Most people are buying these Happy Meals and then just throwing out the actual burgers and fries and shit and just taking the cards. Not even like doing anything with them. Not even to eat them. just wasting food for paper, for cardboard, and then reselling them online. My God, individual packs are selling for $5 to $20. The only way these boxes could be in the hands of sellers is either a back alley deal with the employees, or the employee is the seller. Either way, it's not a great. Oh, so it's a inside job. Okay, so you got people in actual McDonald's selling these cards out on the low, like actual like employees selling these on the low on eBay, just removing them from stealing them from the place and selling them. That's actually, oof. Now, I will say, not all of you scalpers are scumbags, because apparently there is an exception. This guy here is scalping still, but he has at least the decency to give the food away to homeless people, so that's nice, you know? If more scalpers were this generous, I would actually probably not think you were the scum of the earth. Unfortunately, you are the scum of the earth, alright? Just, like, really? Look at this. Who wanted a Happy Meal again? I got you, man. What's wrong with you? Don't kick any children out of the way. That's OD. You don't need to. Just look at just imagine being a kid being like, I want a Pikachu Happy Meal, and then some big grown stink man decides to bump you out the way, buys the last one, and you don't get anything. Like. Terrible. What's wrong with you? You should be ashamed of yourselves. It's not that important. This whole thing is just a train wreck. Let's move on. I can't handle any more of this. Okay. We have two things. We have a bunch of reviews coming. Okay. So we have a bunch of reviews coming in for Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, of course, which is getting a lot of really good reviews from everybody, except IGN, but for pretty much everybody, right? We're getting 5 out of 5s, 10 out of 10s from Nintendo Life and Destructoid, 5 out of 5 from Vooks, whoever those are. Game Informer with a 9.5. These are really, really solid reviews. And I think his Metacritic score was 92 when this initially came out. What is it sitting at now? 90. That's really good. Now, I'm not to argue against this. Super Mario 3D World is a great game, so it really does deserve that attention. And I keep getting caught off guard by how much faster everybody's run speed is in this game. They are zooming when they take off. That was not how it was on the Wii U. I actually own this game on the Wii U, by the way, so this is not like a huge deal for me. Like, I'm probably gonna wait on getting it, but it's a good look. IGN being the exception because they are mad inconsistent. People are actually upset about them. You gotta remember something about IGN. There's like a billion different reviewers on that website. They all have different opinions. You can never get a straight answer from them. They might have rated the original game a 9.6, but apparently this reviewer is just like, nah, 7. But, you know, majority of people say that. Good, that's something to look forward to. The next review over here is early Persona 5 Strikers review scores, which are not as good as the, not as high as the the Mario reviews, but we are getting a pretty good amount of reviews in general, like a lot of 8s, which it seems to be consensus, and 8 is not a bad review by any means. Gamer, apparently, both Windows Central and Gamer give it a 5 out of 5, which is pretty good. The only really big exception is the PC Gamer, which gave it a 63. Apparently it's sitting at a Metacritic of 85. Let's see if that's changed since then. Yeah, 85. That's good. That's a good look. And obviously, I'm excited to play this game. Very excited. Huge Persona fan in general. I plan on streaming this game pretty much as soon as it drops on the Tuesday of the 23rd. Over on my Twitch channel, link in the description. Please give it a watch. Or give it a look. Follow if you want to go see that. But yeah, no, that's the plan for the most part. Is to play it pretty much immediately. Like, get it done as soon as possible. Just like I did with the original Persona 5. So it's good to see it's reviewing well, at least. I didn't really think this game was bad by any means. Like, it's been out in Japan for a while, and for the general consensus, the game's really fun. And like, Hyrule Warriors was really good. So like, you know, I'm anticipating it. Oh, okay. Here's a fun one. Apparently, apparently, recently, we've had an announcement for the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie. The movie is getting a sequel now, and apparently it's coming in April 8th, 2022. I never actually watched the original movie, I might preface. I never had the chance. I think it was in theaters briefly before the pandemic took over, but then, like, you know, I wanted to. That and Detective Pikachu are both movies I actually wanted to watch, but I just never got around to it. But, yeah. Now there's a sequel. Okay, this one was like a direct request from a personal friend of mine. We'll probably be in the comment sections talking about this, but apparently, Last of Us is getting an HBO series adaptation, and the Mandalorian star Pedro Pascal was recently cast as Joel in this adaptation. Before I forget, also apparently Bella Ramsey was being cast to play Ellie as well. Young Ellie, of course, because it's an adaptation of the first game, which, you know, is promising, because no matter how you feel about the second game, I'm pretty sure everybody more or less agrees that the original Last of Us is, like, really, really well regarded in general. Personally, I don't have much of an attachment to The Last of Us whatsoever. I've never really been a fan of zombie media at all. It used to terrify me as a kid. I'm just not really much of a fan of them now. But, you know, it's cool. That has a lot of potential, honestly. Pedro Pascal is a great actor. I don't really know much about this Ramsey actress, but, you know, this is an interesting topic, you know. Apparently the series is being led by the person behind Chernobyl, which I've heard nothing but good things about, and the actual game director from Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann. So that's good. So we got, like, we pretty much got official backing on both cases. This actually checks out pretty well. I could see this being really good with that kind of backing behind it, and like Pedro Pascal and all of that. That's good. That's a pretty telling cast. This is also pretty interesting, considering there was actually a rumor earlier on. I don't think it was like a rumor or something, but it was like, apparently HBO at some point approached Mahershala Ali as Joel, or at least that's what the word on the street was until this announcement, which is... I mean, I shouldn't be laughing. That would actually have been, you know, major. It's just... That would have been so interesting. Wouldn't that have been something, right? Black Joel? That'd have been like if they actually did approach him, that would have been really, really interesting. Could you imagine if Joel was black? Bro, all the racists on Twitter would be going crazy. They'd be livid. They would be so upset. It would be hilarious. I love the fact that there is a potential alternate universe where Joel in the live action adaptation was played by a black man. That would have been amazing. Oh well. Regardless, I'm sure the series will be great. Will I watch it? Hell no. Like I said, I don't like zombies. Doesn't matter if this is a masterpiece. You're not gonna get me to play it, alright? You know who I'm talking to. It's not a requirement, strictly. But, whatever. Moving on. Okay. Bit of a follow-up from something I covered last week. We got new information, a new character reveal from SNK. And it's Joe Higashi, of all people. Now, Joe is a long-standing character. He's from the King of Fighters, the same series that Terry Bogart's from. And, he is typically on Terry's team, like the Fatal Fury team, because Joe, Terry, and his brother Andy were all like the original 3 playable characters in the first Fatal Fury game. So, like, going forward, they were always on a team in King of Fighters. Now, the problem is that if you remember from last week, I had a theory based on the original, and pretty much a lot of people seem to be on the same wavelength with me, is that the idea was that because they showed the first 3 characters they showed turned out to all be on the same team, which if you don't know, since KOF has teams, they also have canonical teams. Like you can technically mix and match whoever you want to make your own 3-person team for any fight, but there's also canonical teams to the story, like teamed up with who for canonical reason. And in this game, Benimaru, Shune, and Matenkun are all on the team, which is a bit of a mix-up. The whole point of this, the whole like marketing scheme of this game is that to shatter all your expectations. So the last person who was, so the thought was the next 3 characters who were announced were going to be on the team. But the last person they announced before Joe was Iori Yagami. And if you don't understand, Joe Higashi and Iori Yagami have absolutely nothing to do with each other, and in terms of personality are pretty much polar opposites. Iori is a very cool, calm, collected, like, edgelord, for lack of a better word. He's got a lot of attitude, not very friendly, very quiet to himself type of guy. And Joe Higashi is obnoxious, in your face, very friendly, very outspoken kind of guy. If they're on the same team, that is hilarious, and I'm 100% for it. In fact, I hope they're on the same team, quite frankly, because that would be sick. That, talk about shatter your expectations. Like, I really am looking forward to their explanation as to why these two might be on the same team. Of course, we do not actually have confirmation with that. For all we know, the next character is going to be revealed next week, and it's going to be like, oh, this person's a whole different people, and they're all, none of these people are on the same team. It's possible that Iori's on his own. He's been on his own before, but I really hope. Let's just watch the trailer real quick. Yeah, love the song. Yeah, pretty normal Joe stuff, you know, doing his thing. Now, I think something of note about Joe in this game is that his design is a little different. Like his, he seems to have like a really Japanesey look. Which combined with like the theory that I have, you know, could mean a lot. But we'll talk about that in a second. We also got like a lot more gameplay and combos. Like we see Joe. I've seen this before, like as I said, with Iori. I watched this beforehand, but like, yeah, we got to see like a lot more gameplay. Joe was linking things into other things, that kind of stuff. Like it's nothing super duper new, but it's still interesting, right? It's good to see him here. This is possibly the most WTF team of all time. You thought it was Kyo, but it's me, Joe. I thought it was Kyo, honestly. I was thinking that Iori would have the Team Sacred Treasures like setup going on, and now I'm seeing Joe Higashi. Some people have actually brought up possibilities if Iori and Joe are on the same team, that because of Joe's like redesign where it's very Japanesey, that he could potentially be on a Team Japan with Iori. Like Iori's the new Team Japan leader, which would be crazy. But on top of that, he's teamed up with Joe Higashi, who is, though he spends a lot of time in Thailand and the United States, he is actually Japanese in birth. But like, if it's like Iori, Joe, and then like some other Japanese character, that could potentially be Team Japan right there. Something that somebody suggested in the comics, I can't really find it, but somebody suggested that the team could possibly be Iori, Joe, and Richard Garcia from Art of Fighting. And that would be like a new rivals team, because each of those characters are in some ways rivals to the main character of each of the series. Iori is Kyo's rival, Joe in some ways is a rival to Terry, and Garcia is a rival to, it's like pretty much the Ken to Ryo's Ryu, right? So that could potentially be a team as well. We could also just see Kyo next week, and then it's like these three are a team for whatever reason. I really want to know what's the story purpose behind Joe and Iori being on the same team. Because like I can't imagine Iori was the one who proposed this. I just can never imagine him going like, hey Joe, like you're a pretty cool dude. You're pretty awesome. I'm a big fan. Yo, it'd be pretty cool if you could join my team. Like that would not have happened. If anything, Joe approached him, or the third member put these three together somehow. It's also possible that the third person on the team is like somebody entirely random, like a completely new character, because we have not actually seen a new character in this game yet, so there's bound to be an announcement of somebody new eventually, so it's possible. That's also a very likely possibility. Either way, it's bound to be interesting regardless. I'm sitting with complete anticipation towards next week when we get to cover more stuff. Honestly, it's probably going to be, just get used to this, they're going to announce new characters every week. So next topic. Apparently, the Kingdom Hearts franchise is coming to the Epic Game Store. Exclusively the Epic Game Store. Nowhere else. It's just the Epic Game Store. Can't get it on Steam. You have to get it there. Apparently, it's coming on the 30th. And the pricing has been a point of contention for a lot of people, because it's expensive. They're charging full price for this. Meanwhile, in Canadian EB games, this is only like $29.99, which is like half the price of this. Mind you, this is Canadian bucks, which are actually more expensive, and this is just on the PS4 version. So why is it that this PC version for the exact same game is like 4 times the price? It doesn't make sense. Like, they're charging quite a bit for games that are not by any means like modern. Especially like 2.8. Like 2.8 is literally like, it's one game, Dream Drop Distance, and then like a tech demo for Kingdom Hearts 3, which is also, it's canon story wise, but it's really short. And then like a movie, and then they're charging $59.99 for this. This is a better deal, and this is already a ripoff. Kingdom Hearts 3 I sort of understand, but like even then you can probably get Kingdom Hearts 3 for cheaper now. The price has definitely dropped. The only one that's like justifiably this expensive is Melody of Memory, because that game came out like last year. It's not very old. But like, yeah, no, the prices is what everybody's getting up in a hiss about, which, you know what, fair enough. Buying these games on PC is nice, and they really should have came beforehand, but being this price is just unacceptable. Personally, I'm not even a big enough Kingdom Hearts fan to bother buying these games at any point. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it. If you're gonna buy these games, just get them on PS4. There's no point. I wouldn't even recommend getting these games at all. But hey, that's a totally different topic. Let's move on. Actually, before I move on, this one got me. Square Enix, the Kingdom Hearts fans, after begging for a PC port, they'll pay for this. Ooh, okay. We're back home, fellas. Apparently, we've gotten some fresh trademarks for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and Skyward Sword, which came up, which could hint towards some sort of Zelda anniversary thing, right? Where they're just like, oh, it's the Zelda anniversary, here we go, we're gonna put all these games on the Switch. Or it could be they're just renewing the trademarks as they do. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. The 21st is when the anniversary officially starts, though there's no guarantee we're going to actually get information about that on the 21st. But point of the matter is that that's what people are more or less assuming, is that we're going to get information on the 21st, and that we're probably going to get some sort of collection like the Super Mario 3D All-Stars pack for Zelda, which I could see, and I'm probably going to buy, even though I really shouldn't. But yeah, if that happens, a Skyward Sword HD might happen, just like a combo pack of like Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, maybe Ocarina of Time getting re-released. It's pretty likely. So these trademarks do say quite a bit. Now, this was apparently in Australia, so it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But yeah, we'll see. I hope that's what's going to happen. I hope we also get Breath of the Wild 2 this year, but we already talked about that last time. While I'm on the topic, though, of Skyward Sword, something I really hope from a Skyward Sword HD, and I know there's a bit of a pie in the sky ask, but I really, really, really hope that if we get Skyward Sword HD, that they implement voice acting. Because here's the thing, Skyward Sword was released before Nintendo bit the bullet on voice acting, and since then they've been pretty open about like including it. Like it was in Breath of the Wild, which is an official game, and it was also in Hyrule Warriors, and even like Smash Brothers, they had Zelda speak in that game, like an actual voice actors for Zelda. Like, they've already crossed that threshold. There's nothing really holding them back from adding voice acting. Skyward Sword is an extremely story-based game. I could totally see them adding voice acting and improving the game just overall. Like, Skyward Sword with voice acting would just be a strict improvement. It would be pretty sick. I would want that to happen. But again, that's me speaking. That's not guaranteed to happen. But if it does, you know who said it first. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, moving on. Okay, so Street Fighter V recently announced its Season 5 stuff. A while back, there was an announcement of like the characters are going to be in Season 5, which is Dan Hibiki, I think Rose, Oro from Street Fighter 3, and Akira from Rival Schools, which was a big deal. We still don't know who the last character in this season is, but we didn't get a lot of new news actually so much new news because the update itself was like 25 minutes. I'm not gonna watch it here, or even like Dan's breakdown or Rose or anything, but I'll basically break down everything that was revealed. First off, we got to see Dan in action properly. We also got to see Rose in action, like a playable version of her. We also got to see her stage, which is like the Street Fighter Alpha 2 stage that's in HD. Dan now has a new battle costume as well, where he kind of looks like Mr. Karate Art of Fighting, which if you didn't know, Dan Hibiki was always a parody character of both Rio and Robert Garcia from Art of Fighting, because back then Capcom had beef and they're being petty, so that's why Dan is a thing. So now they're just coming full circle. He even has like a super that's very much like Rio's. It's cool, it's nice, and we saw a very small bit of Oro as well beforehand, using one of his supers. Apparently he's just carrying around a turtle all the time to limit himself, because that's just the Oro way, is to just stunt on everybody. There's also a new mechanic called the V-Shift, which is like this sort of parry dodge thing where like if you use this move, normally it's like a backdash, but if you do time it properly, you get like an advantage in terms of like frame data. Like the enemies slow down, you are able to act a little bit quicker, and then you can punish. And that's pretty much a pretty big change. You can also do like a counter follow-up move immediately after and get a bunch of combos out of that. So that's like the first big change Street Fighter V has had in a very long time, which is nice. And there's also another bonus character, sort of. 11 from Street Fighter 3 is a character for people who own the pass, but he's not like a character on his own. I don't even really truly understand how it works, but basically you pick him and he transforms into another character on the roster. It's like a random button, but I don't really get what the point of it is. Like, I have to read into it. Transformation occurs when you load a battle. Also, choose a random V skill and a random V trigger for you. Remember, character will obtain a color scheme while performing exactly like the character being duplicated. I don't quite get the point. Isn't there a random button? I guess even more random, right? It's a roll on the dice sort of thing, right? If you want to stunt on somebody, you can pick 11 and become anyone, right? That you own. That's interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on that. It's like Street Fighter got an update, and it's nice. Alright, this is a juicy one. Okay, you may or may not have heard of the channel SuperMarioLogan, but that channel, which is very successful, has like millions of views and whatnot, recently got a DMCA strike from Nintendo. And normally this would be a bad thing, right? The Nintendo ninjas out again slaughtering an innocent person. But turns out they did not just give him a DMCA. They also sent him this letter, which is legit, by the way. It was like the actual owner of the channel, I think his name is Logan, like 30 Acre. He posted this on his Instagram, and like this out of context page, which is like super legit, reposted this. But yeah, we got a legit message from the Nintendo ninjas themselves, and they are pissed. They did not just cease and desist this man. They exposed his ass. They put his ass on blast. They didn't just talk about, hey, you've been using our properties for way too long. They decided, hey, you've been doing some BS. Let's put you on blast for a second here. Let's get into it. Let's read this word for word, bar for bar from the top. Okay, dear Mr. 30 Acre, we represent Nintendo of America. The purpose of this correspondence is to address your unauthorized use of the Nintendo brand in conjunction with profane and offensive content on your multiple YouTube channels named after iconic Nintendo characters. Nintendo has received many complaints from the community who have expressed confusion and disgust at your use of Nintendo brand and intellectual property, including particular concerns for children who are drawn to your content based on your unauthorized use of the Nintendo brand. And while you promote your content as 100% family friendly, your channels target and attack historically disadvantaged and or protected classes of people, included but not limited to the Asian community, the Black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBTQ+ community, mentally and physically disabled children, and women. I don't know why that's so funny. That hits so hard, but it's also so funny. Your content perpetuates discriminatory and offensive stereotypes while degrading and ridiculing members of the LGBTQ+ community and Black Lives Matter, mocking individuals with disability, objectifying women, trivializing sexual assault, using racist, sexist, homophobic, and ableist terms. In addition, your content further glorifies child abuse and regularly features sexually explicit content, including depictions and discussions about sexual assault and rape. You have profited from the Nintendo brand and intellectual property, caused confusion among Nintendo's customers and the public as to the source of the content, and tarnished the goodwill and positive reputation that Nintendo enjoys. Specifically, you have used the Nintendo brand and intellectual property to create content for and to draw attention to your YouTube channels: Super Mario Logan, Super Luigi Logan, Super Bowser Logan, Super Yoshi Logan, Super Wario Logan, Super Waluigi Logan, and Super Daisy Logan. Why y'all have... Am I the only person who had no context of the fact that this man had 7 different alternative accounts? I only knew about the first one. What the actual hell? And corresponding social media pages and merchandise stores at Super Mario Logan merch. We also use Nintendo's registered Super Mario Trademark and other intellectual properties to raise money at your pages at Patreon/Super Mario Logan, and apparently Super Mario, he has 2 Patreons. Why? Why do you need 2 that are both for the same thing? Attached at Exhibit 1 to this letter, just a few of the countless examples of the offensive and derogatory content found in your Super Mario videos. These acts violate Nintendo's intellectual property rights and go far beyond any notion of fair use. Nintendo requires that you immediately, 1, rename all your YouTube content to omit the use of Nintendo's trademarks in the channel or video titles, and 2, cease the use of Nintendo intellectual properties to promote and publicize the content of your YouTube channels, including but not limited to meta tags, keywords, thumbnails, and 3, otherwise cease unauthorized use of Nintendo's intellectual property in your video. Nintendo reserves all rights, remedies, and defenses under federal law 17 U.S.C. something 501 and blah 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 blah. Verily, truly yours, blank blah blank, Nintendo of America. Hey yo, this OD. And you know what's crazy? This man actually decided to put this on his Instagram. He exposed himself, and apparently, this is something that people have actually been talking about for a while. Nintendo actually got a massive W on this one. Nintendo might be making some bad decisions here and there, but bro, the integrity on display here is crazy. You love to see it, boss man. They sent a whole ass calling card. They did not need to expose literally everything this man has done wrong with their properties, but they did. They made a whole bullet point list. There's just something really, really endearing about it. I don't know. It's just, oh my god, it really hits differently. I didn't know this was so jacked up. I'd known about this for a while, but just sort of ignored it because I thought it was lame. But turns out it was also really offensive. And yeah, good to see Nintendo is still capable of getting W's. Going all Phoenix Wright on their ass. Great. Planning on still continuing this, by the way. So while Nintendo may have cracked down on his ass, it's not like he's done, right? He's still probably gonna make a bunch of content. He's just not gonna be able to profit off the characters anymore. But he's still going through with what he's doing on its own. So the next move is on YouTube. YouTube gotta get on his ass now, right? But yeah, apparently he just replaced all the old characters with like bootleg versions of them. It's still clearly Mario and all of them. The question on everybody's mind is like, how exactly did he get away with all of this in the first place? Like, this has been happening for like 10 years if I'm correct, or like not 10, like I've seen this channel around for like 6 or 7 years and nobody said anything. And then Nintendo just decides to come out the woodwork and then just, you have abused our intellectual property for the last time. It is time to suffer the consequences. And then just killed them for no reason. But hey, whatever. I mean, I guess they're in their rights. A little late, but okay, let's go. Anyways, moving on. Okay, and now the final thing for the day, finally, because this recording has been going on forever. I'm gonna have to cut out a lot of stuff. But the last piece of quote news is that officially Twitch has finally chosen their PogChamp. They are no longer just going to randomly generate a new PogChamp every single day. If you didn't know, back during the beginning of the year, during the riots at Capitol Hill and whatnot, the face behind the PogChamp emote, Gutex, said some out-of-pocket things about about the rioters and whatnot. He was supporting all that, the whole thing going on with that. So Twitch was like, alright, we're pulling it. They just immediately pulled it off, and that was a bit of a small controversy. But in the meantime, they basically have been replacing him with other PogChamps, which are just like different, like community submitted ones that have been going randomly day by day since then. But now they've finally come to the decision now of what the new face of Pog is. The community has spoken. They've also posted this small video here. They're activating their Twitch machine. Look at all the effort that they're putting into this Twitch video that is specifically in really old, bad, like 80s quality that they don't put into moderating their own website. And yes, I did steal that from the tweets below, but it's still funny. Yes, the winner of them all. We're going to see which one is it. The new Pog champion is, yes, who is the Pog champion? It's Komodo Hype, boys! Komodo Hype! Let's go! Let's go! Any hypers in the chat? Any hypers? I want to see it. Komodo Hype, the people's champion, the man, the myth, the lizard, the champion, the legend himself. You love to see it. Let's go. Komodo Hype is an old emote that's pretty much PogChamp, but a lizard. And it's been around for a while. And basically, as soon as PogChamp got pulled down, most people just defaulted to Komodo Hype. Now Komodo Hype is the default PogChamp. It has evolved. It's gone even further beyond just being a bootleg. It is PogChamp. You love to see it. What an inspiring come-up story. We are about it. Anyways. Alright. Anyways, that's the last piece of news I had to add to that. Like always, if you want to submit more news, you want to have something that you want me to cover, please just link it in Twitter or at my Discord, and the link's down below. Please also check out my Twitch channel. We're going through a lot of growth. I'm planning on streaming every Saturday, while pretty much every Saturday, and then the first month of March I have off, so like that's all stream week 2. Also, please check out my anime reaction channel. I plan to upload some stuff there. I've recently been reacting to Death Note over on my Twitch, and I plan on uploading those to my channel at some point, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And yeah, just thanks for watching in general. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for being supportive. Like, favorite, subscribe if you haven't already. Do your thing. And please share out the video around. You know, nice. Good to have you here. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Appreciate you. Ciao. ダメだねダメよダメなのよあんたが好きで好きすぎて どれだけ強いお酒でも歪わない思い出がバカみたい